Keith Bennett here with PXG, and I've got a putting tip that's gonna pressure proof your putting stroke. So a lot of people that I see on the putting greens get inconsistent results because they've got these wrists way too active in their stroke, and when they do that, they have inconsistency with the loft and the direction that their putter face is pointing at impact. So a really simple drill that has worked wonders for all of my students is we're gonna take a tee and we're gonna place that tee just in this opening at the top of your grip and just make sure it's secure in place there. So when we get set up in our putting stance here, you're gonna see that there's an observable amount of space between that tee and the inside of my trail forearm. We could measure that distance. If I perform a stroke, one that the tee gets closer to my forearm or further away from my forearm, you can see that clearly I am not performing a pendulum motion. This is a leveraging style motion, which is going to yield inconsistent results. So instead, what we want to do is we want to observe that space, and we want to make sure that that space remains constant. So I'm going to go slowly back and forth, and I'm keeping my eyes on that space between the forearm and the tee. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to observe that space in my mind's eye, and this is helping my brain really lock in that feeling and that sensation that this tee and the forearm are staying the same distance away from one another. And if I can do that, that is going to deliver a nice pendulum putting stroke to the ball, and that's going to give me consistent results. So I'm going to go ahead and roll a few putts here, and all I'm going to be focusing on is that space between the tee and the forearm. The result of the putt's going to take care of itself, but I really just want to focus on the tee and that forearm connection. Just focusing on the tee and the forearm. And that's going to give us a really nice pendulum motion, one that is going to serve you well when you get in pressure on the greens.